Hello, my name is David Allen Arnold. I am the helicopter cameraman for Deadliest Catch, and I was asked to come on and answer a few questions about flying a Discovery bird for our show. Lynn asks, how much room is in the helicopter, and can you take a passenger? We fly a Bell Long Ranger 4, and it has 7 seats, and we typically use 3 of those seats for filming The Deadliest Catch. Usually it's a pilot, myself, and a director or a VIP. Sometimes members of the media have flown with us to document the show and to witness the fishermen in the boats from our helicopter as they do their thing in the Bering Sea. Lynn also asks, have you ever been frightened while filming for Deadliest Catch? And the answer is yes. It's always scary to fly a little teeny tiny helicopter in those big Bering Sea storms that the show is famous for. And it's an incredible thing to witness from our helicopter. The just ferocity of the storms, the Bering Sea, that freezing water, and watching those fishermen do their work while these giant waves are trying to sink their boat. It's an incredible thing to witness. And while that all is going on, there's a little tiny helicopter hovering above the boats. And so flying for Deadliest Catch, of all of the shows that I work on, is the scariest, and it's the most incredible adventure. I've written a series of true adventure books, and The Deadliest Catch is in both of my books. There's a chapter called Lost in a Storm in Help from Above. And it's the story of how our helicopter got lost one night in a blizzard while flying for The Deadliest Catch. And the only reason I'm alive is because everything happened just right to bring us home before we ran out of fuel. And a key moment in that adventure was the Northwestern used their lights, their giant sodium lights, which are, it looks like the lights of a stadium on those boats. And if you look at the boat on the show, you'll see the mast above the wheelhouse with those lights all arrayed on that tower. And the Northwestern and Captain Sig used his lights to show us the way out of the storm and back to Dutch Harbor. And it was an incredible adventure, and I will never forget it as long as I live. And it's one of the most powerful stories in my first book, Help from Above. Other questions: as a kid, did you dream about what you'll do now? It's funny, I didn't dream about becoming a helicopter cameraman, but my earliest childhood memory, and this story is also in my book, Help from Above, my earliest childhood memory is when I was a little toddler, me floating out of my crib and up into the air. And I flew out a window and over my house, and that's the last thing I remember. And it's such a strange thing. And as I grew up, I had no interest in aviation. To me, aviation just looked scary. It wasn't something I was interested in. And when I got out of high school, I was a very hard worker, and I knocked on a lot of doors. And people started to notice that I would show up to work even if I wasn't an employee of the company. And that's how I actually got hired. That's how I got my big break in television, was I just kept coming to work at a company where I wasn't an employee. I didn't have a job there. And one day I had this incredible job interview with the vice president of this company that works on all the big television shows and movies. And he was just staring at me like a puzzle. He couldn't figure out why was this kid always showing up to work at his building when he doesn't work here. And so that led to them actually interviewing me for a job, which was crazy. And people were stunned that this happened, that a hungry kid off the streets with no experience and no skills got a job interview at one of the top camera companies in the world. And that story is also in my book, Help from Above. And I love for kids today to hear that story so that they can understand that Working on big television shows isn't a matter of being a genius or the most talented. It can be as simple as showing up and being nice to everyone. Literally can make such a difference in the kind of opportunities that come your way. So I love for kids today to read that chapter in Help from Above. When did you start to write books? What inspired you to start writing books? I had no interest in writing books. I never talked about what happens on TV shows that I work on. For 20 years, I worked in secret. My own family didn't even know where I went or what I did for my job. And in 2013, an organized crime ring moved into a school bus stop where I live. And so I immediately got involved because I was afraid something bad was going to happen to the kids. And I didn't expect this, but that culminated in me getting into a fight with organized crime for over 5 years. And at the end of that, one of the only weapons that I had against them, because law enforcement would not act, the politicians were participating in the crimes and covering them up, the media wouldn't report on it. That's what organized crime is. That's why people usually don't fight with organized crime, because they're untouchable. And so what I found was one of the only weapons I had against them was to tell the story and document it. And so I did that. And I wrote a book about the school bus stop. It's called What Lies Above the Clouds. And someone read the book and they said, Dave, this is great, but you're gonna have to go back and first tell people who you are and what you do. And so I actually went back and then wrote my first book, Help from Above, book 1. And that is how I got onto social media. That's how I started to reach out to the public and tell stories. That's how I started to do things like this. After working in absolute secrecy for 20 years, I finally started to show behind the scenes. And today, when I fly for the Deadliest Catch, I usually have 5 GoPro cameras all around the aircraft documenting everything from where I sit, what I see, to the camera gimbal outside the aircraft that films the boats with a stabilized movie camera. So thank you all for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'll be looking for comments in case you have any other questions. I love to hear from fans of the show. And just so you know, I am a fan of the show. I'm just as amazed as you are when you watch the show. I watch it too, and I watch these guys enter this incredible, deadly realm of the Bering Sea with these crab boats, and with the opportunity to earn pretty much more money than you can make at any other job without a college degree. So I love it, and I love to hear from you guys. And I also would say thank you, because after 16 years, the only reason this show is on television is because of you guys. And the fact that you follow the show and you watch these stories and you get involved, you're here on Facebook, you guys are the reason that Deadliest Catch is on the air. So I love you all, and I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching this video.